بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا من فضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. Alhamdulillah, I'd like to start my talk by firstly thanking Madin Academy and His Excellency Sayyid Ibrahim Khalil Bukhari for inviting me here. This is a great honor and I've come here to learn from you. I've not come here to tell you anything inshallah that you do not know. I've come here to learn from you, to see your beautiful faces and to see and to have hope that this reality of what I'm hoping to speak about today, especially within the Muslim Ummah, has a lived example. In a time of division, in a time of much strife, we can place hope in examples and exemplars. So alhamdulillah. My topic that I was given to speak about today was actually faith in times of artificial intelligence. And I feel the need to offer a few definitions before I start my talk. The word faith is etymologically or linguistically related to the Latin word fidem, which literally means that which you trust, which is why the Arabic equivalent iman also has the same meaning. Iman comes from amana, that which you trust. So my talk could be alternatively entitled, what is it that you really trust in times of artificial intelligence? How do we define intelligence before we wholly swallow a term called artificial intelligence? How do we define what it means to be educated? How do we define the term education? Those of you who work in the field of education will probably be familiar that the word education comes from the Latin root word educare, which literally means to draw out, to take out what is already within. In other words, the process of education should be a process of realizing what it means to be a human being. Which is why I was greatly happy to hear that the final goal of the Madin pedagogy, the final goal of the educational process of the Ma'din Academy, after expansion, after you gain this knowledge, after enlightenment, and light is a type of knowledge because light in our tradition means ishraqul ma'na, that which enlightens meaning. The final goal of the Madin Academy is embodiment. The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمْ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect khuluq. And the Quran says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You are on a great khuluq. We often translate khuluq as character, but khuluq literally means that which you were primordially created upon. And so he was sent to embody embodiment for us. He was sent to teach us what it means to be a real human being. Which is why the Prophet is described as uswatun hasana, the best of examples. So when we say, what does it mean to have faith? What does it mean to be educated? It means to learn what it means to be a real human being. But how do we square that with a world today wherein much of education has been reduced to studying for the sake of grades, for the sake of money? How do we understand that in a world today where much of geopolitics is based on a paradigm of separation? as best illustrated by when the most powerful man, or arguably the most powerful man in the world, sees the solution to his problems as building a wall. How do we understand this paradigm of education when much of science and technology has been co-opted into a paradigm of separation? Before I start speaking about artificial intelligence, it's worth noting that most of the proponents of artificial intelligence don't define intelligence and education the way I defined it. Rather, most of the proponents of artificial intelligence posit intelligence is information, that the new religion will be dataism, that augmented reality or augmented experience is how much information I can give you, that artificial intelligence will eventually look for a singularity point whereby there will be lesser human beings based on what they can embody, based on the embodiment of more and more information. So we live in a time when most of our lives are being reduced to the size of a screen, wherein our relationships are being defined by Facebook likes and Twitter tweets and Instagram posts, wherein more and more people are retreating to a version of virtual reality. But how real is such a reality? Is this intelligence? Is this paradigm how we would understand what it merely needs to know? We live in a time when the dominant proponents of science, science as proposing and technology as disposing, are arguing that if we can find that 1-inch equation of the string theory, then we will literally become God, because God is nothing but mathematical formula and technology. So how do we understand this in a paradigm of faith, and particularly the paradigm that you as Madin students represent, but more so as most wisdom traditions around the world would understand faith to be? Before we get to the faith dimension, let's talk about how this happened. One of the very first proponents of such a philosophy of separation, although he was a believer in God, was René Descartes. Because we have to go to Western Europe, because a lot of the major paradigms of what defines philosophical thought behind the paradigms of knowledge we have today arose out of a trajectory that Western Europe went down. And so when René Descartes posited his famous philosophy of cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am, he was amongst the first people to bring a conceptual separation between the world that's witnessed and the world that's experienced. And he said all of experience resides in the thinking mind. Which is why Descartes, although he was a believer of God, felt that the soul was literally at the back in a pineal gland. Following on from this conceptual separation, a separation that posits the soul as a ghost in the machine, because the body was then seen as a machine, became the trajectory of modern science, which brought tremendous good, and continues to bring tremendous good. But we must not forget that as most of the major proponents of modern science, be it Galileo, be it Leibniz, be it Newton, be it all of these, be it Kepler, believed in a deistic God, a God who is the watchmaker, a God who is out there, a God who is out there and has set into play the world. So by extension, if we can master these natural laws of motion, natural laws of gravity, what is the need for that God who is out there? And as that trajectory of modern science moved, it said, why should we believe in this metaphysical assumption of what God is? And so Galileo's distinction between primary and secondary qualities gave a rise to the doctrine of empiricism. And empiricism, to be empiric, actually means sensorial experience, to experience something. But the only experience that was given importance was the exterior dimension of experience, the experience that can be measured and quantified, not the interior dimension of experience, which every person of faith should know and experience. Until finally Hume and the other philosophers got rid of this metaphysical experience. We don't need God. Until finally you come to the contemporary philosophers, which say we can get rid of Descartes' idea of a soul entirely. So what is consciousness? What is your experience of I exist? Modern day science, most of the philosophy of mind in answering this says consciousness is a byproduct of material existence of your brain. Your brain transmits waves and an epiphenomenon, a byproduct, an accident is that you feel you exist. Otherwise you're nothing but a machine. This is nothing but matter. There is nothing that exists but dead, inert matter. And you've got neuroscientists like Sam Harris saying, if we consistently map these maps, then we'll come to understand what it means. What is the mystery of I exist? Brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ was asked, what is the mystery of your existence? The Quran says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They ask you about the soul, and Fakhruddin al-Razi says the word soul, this ruh, is kalimatin, yushiru ila kalimatin, indicating a word that says ana, I am. What is the secret of I am? And the Prophet was responded to say, قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Say that this soul is of the affair of your Rabb. The word Rabb, often translated as Lord, doesn't mean just Lord. The word Rabb is that rububiyyah, that which takes you in a process of spiritual evolution to the process of perfection. You are the plane by which the divine is acting. And the way for you to know that, the gateway for you to know that, is sincere contemplation, sincere knowledge. Knowledge is not just things. Our knowledge is always premised under the paradigm of فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Know that there is nothing worthy of absolute adoration, worship except Allah. And this is not an ethnocentric, this is not a tribal definition of God, because the word Allah comes from wala, that which you give your being to. So what this is saying is there is nothing in reality, there is nothing governing except that which is giving existence to being. So how do we understand this now? In light of this trajectory of modern science and this materialistic paradigm of separation, we need to come back to the mysteries of faith, not just in Islam, but in Hinduism, in Christianity and Buddhism and all the major world religions. Why were you created? What is your purpose here? The Quran says every soul was arranged before their Lord, and Allah said, Alastu bi rabbikum. That's why we call it the day, al-yawmu alast, the day when God said, am I not the one who's raising you? Am I not the one who's perfecting you? Am I not the creator of all existence? And all of the souls said, Bala shahidna. We have seen it from ourselves. And then we come into this world. We come into this world with an imprint, which is why education means to take out that which is already within. You know who God is. Everyone knows who God is. But real education means when you come in this world, you're on this fitrah, the fatra Allah, that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all souls to know. But then you get affected by this world of separation. And so the journey is to come back. And that journey to come back, and I'll end here, I won't take very long, has to be under the paradigm of true knowledge, not under a paradigm of separation. And every single world religion has spoken about this. Tawheed doesn't mean oneness of God, it means the ability to make one, because Tawheed is a masdar, the ability to make one in the presence of what appears more than one. I can look across this stage, I can see many people. I can look here and see many people. If I'm in Tawheed, in this many, I'm seeing one. Allah, Allah, Allah. That's why when the Sahaba, when they would go, even in the battlefield, even in the tribulations, when Bilal had rocks placed on his chest, he said, Ahadun Ahad, Ahadun Ahad, Ahadun Ahad. The one, the one, the one. So go for artificial intelligence, go for sciences, but do it the way Madin is doing, by looking at how all of these things can be looked in the paradigm of bringing this knowledge of oneness to your life. And this is the same in Hinduism. This is what they know as Advaita, the philosophy of not two but one. This is the same in Christianity. This is why the idea of the Logos, the God who wants to be known, comes to the world. This is the same in Buddhism, which is why the third of the Four Noble Truths is to realize the true self in Nirvana and to embody that as a Bodhisattva. This is the same in every wisdom tradition, because this is the truth. And so what happens when you gain this knowledge? You become like the Prophet. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً. We did not send you as this all-enveloping mercy. This mercy that can deal with separation. This mercy that can deal with diversity. This mercy that can deal with strife, because it realizes I am one. I am one. I am one with you. I am one with everything, because it sees from the paradigm of the soul. So we'll end here. The true paradigm of knowledge is you get Tawheed and you follow in this flow of mercy, of love for the entirety. As they said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, for the entirety of all of creation. I see this happening in Madin. I see this happening in Sayyid Khalil Bukhari, because you need exemplars, you need murabbiyun, you need people who embody it themselves. And I'm not interested in empty cliches. We want examples. May Allah bless you. You're an example. May please embody and follow this thing and give us the ability to follow you. وَمَا ذَعْلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِعَزِيزٍ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.